You know what's really interesting? While making this small video series, I have noticed there are two groups of people in the comment section. One group is accusing me that I'm not condemning Andrew Tate, and I'm not doing this in order not to upset his fans. The other group of people is accusing me that I am not saying that Andrew Tate is innocent, and because of that, I am working with the matrix. I am with the system. And I noticed that this is how the Western media likes to do things. When they talk about a story, they need to constantly editorialize. I do have my own biases about this situation. I do have my own conclusions. But in this video series, I just want to tell people what the Romanian press is saying. I just want to give you as an accurate of a translation and to explain the way Romania does things to other people. So I'm not interested in editorializing. Again, just because I'm not editorializing doesn't mean I don't have my own personal biases, but maybe you can get used to this type of reporting. How about you make up your own mind about the issue? How about that? Do you need me to spoon feed you with information? Do you need me to tell you what's in my brain so that you know how to think? How about you listen to what's being said and you make your own conclusion? You can even get a chat. I do not give disabilities to my chat, right? You can go into the comment section and you can talk with people. How about that? Another thing that I get is why wasn't the press so diligent when it came to Epstein? Why wasn't the press so diligent when it came to Biden? This is the Romanian press. Do you want the Romanian press to talk about your stuff from the United States, to do your investigations that CNN and Fox News and MSNBC should be doing? It's a completely different country, okay? The investigators are different. The journalists are different. I do not understand this level of criticism. It's why wasn't the Romanian press more interested in Epstein? I don't know. Halfway across the world, I guess. Another more reasonable question is why are the investigators leaking information to the press? And this is a Romanian problem. It doesn't only happen to Andrew Tate. It happens to almost any famous person or politician that's being investigated. Legally, it should not happen. Legally, the investigation should be done in secret. However, they do create this media circus, and you realize that it's a circus because they constantly leak all of these chat logs every single day. They do not just release all the information they have. They do this slow leaking in order to keep the public attention to this case as much as possible. Why do they do it? Well, probably to show that the authorities are competent, because I've seen them doing it regardless of the politician or the famous person that's under investigation. They do it also to form the court of public opinion, which leads to the next question. Are these chat logs real? We can't tell for sure because you don't have access to what the investigators have. But looking at the past, overwhelmingly, they were real. However, many times they do not stand up in court because the court requires evidence beyond a shadow of a doubt in order to convict someone of a crime. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion doesn't require that. So, for example, you can have a person that admits to committing a crime on WhatsApp, but when in court, they can say, well, I was joking. I wasn't talking seriously. They can say that the context was of a different nature. They can say that someone else used their phone. So, as you can see, when you are actually faced with criminal charges, because of the burden of proof being a lot more severe than in the court of public opinion, a lot of the times these chat logs do not stand up in court. So this is why the investigators require additional evidence. They require witnesses, they require computer data that they can seize from the servers of the villa that they raided, so on and so forth. So, yes, from the past, most of the chat logs from other politicians and from other people that were under investigations were legit. Will they stand up in court? That remains to be seen. Another question is, why would the Tates admit to their crimes in chat logs? Right? Who does that? Surprisingly, a lot of people. I have seen politicians admit to money laundering. I have seen politicians admit to committing various crimes of corruption. This happens all the time, probably because of the fact that they do not expect that the authorities have access to their chat logs. They do not expect that the government, the Romanian government, has the technology to listen in on them. So a lot of people, they forget that the authorities are looking into them, and this is why yesterday we saw a chat log with Andrew Tate admitting that one of his businesses was fake and that he was getting his girls in order to commit money laundering and do various crimes. So it's not like a comic book villain that's going to describe his evil, nefarious plan in front of the audience. It's simply that they do not expect the authorities to read their chat logs. And by the way, I mean, everyone that uses the internet has seen many people on Discord saying various things, and then the chat logs come out. It's not something unheard of for people to talk about stuff that they wouldn't want to be public on the internet, right? So I hope I managed to answer all of the questions, and now we can actually look at some of the new transcripts that were released today. And we got the most incriminating one yet. This is probably the woman that claims she was being held against her will at the house through various psychological means as well as threats. And she wanted to go to the mall, but apparently Andrew Tate says you don't go anywhere without one of the 3 trusted employees. So he's probably referring to the 2 girls that are also under investigation. And the woman says, why are you so cold with me? Don't go out alone without telling me. Mall, supermarket, nowhere from now on. The woman says, I told you I wanted to go alone, and he says it's the last warning. So if this is true, if he legitimately says this, it will definitely be used against him in court. I have seen people saying, well, that this is not a threat. And my question to you is, okay, imagine you're walking down an alleyway, and then you see this guy, which is twice your size. If he punches a guy next to you, he sends you flying through the hospital into the graveyard because he does AoE punches. And he's very intimidating. And he says, give me your wallet. And he's got this intimidating glare. Now, if you give him your wallet, would this constitute mugging or not? And the answer is yes, because the threat doesn't necessarily have to be verbal. It can also be implied. It can also be directed from the circumstances, which the investigators are going to have to prove. But simply if you have the Don Corleone of the mafia coming into your store and saying, oh, what a nice store you have here. It would be a shame if something was to happen to it, right? He's not issuing a verbal threat. Like, he's not saying that he's going to do anything to your store. But due to the circumstances, like, you know he's Don Corleone. You know what he is capable of. You know what he did to other stores, right? You know that he wants protection money. That is a shakedown. Even though he's not actively saying, oh, yes, I'm going to come and say, right? He doesn't need to do that. So, of course, the authorities are going to have to gather other evidence and mix it with this. But yeah, like telling a woman that you're not allowed to walk on the street without me when you're not even a family relative of her, that does seem like a threat. And here you have another leaked chat log with Emory. And this is what they're being accused of. They're being accused of lying to women, trying to seduce them, and then promising that if they come to Romania, they will get married. And when they got to Romania, instead of that, they were asked to do video chat and OnlyFans. So you have to move to Romania with me to keep an eye on you. You're mine. Do not forget that and act like it. We will be together soon. The girl says, but can I trust you? Yes, you can. You will move to Romania with me. I plan when I get here. First, I might have to go to Prague for a few days, and then we meet in Romania. And I want to know that you are committed, serious about the marriage. And the girl says, yes, I am serious. So these are the chat logs which were released today, and I'm pretty sure by tonight we're going to see more. Probably in the next couple of days, there's going to be more leaked. It does look like a PR campaign, what can I say, but it's standard for Romania. I hear a lot of people saying that they're only doing this to Tate. No, it's every single time. I can't think of an exception when a politician or a high-profile person was under investigation, especially if they get arrested and detained into custody. Every single time you have things from the investigation being leaked. And one of the questions was like, is this a mistrial? And the answer is no, it's not a mistrial because we do not use jury, right? So the Romanian system uses judges. A judge gets to decide the guilt. At the first court, you have one judge, and then as you move up to superior court, you have 3, then 5, all the way up to 9, but that's the Supreme Court, and I don't think this is going to be involved. and the judges themselves get to decide, and the judges do not have to be separated from the news or from the online press. Maybe this is like another way that the prosecutors are, another reason for why the prosecutors are doing this, to potentially influence the opinion of judges. I mean, they read the press as well, right? The prosecutors get promoted, and they get, their effectiveness is analyzed by how many cases they manage to get and send to court in order to get a conviction. So, you know, potentially they're also doing this in order to influence how the judges think. I can only speculate. It is very bizarre because this doesn't happen in other countries, right? Like in the United States, if something like this were to happen, it would be considered outrageous. Let's put it like that, right? If you had a person that's under investigation and the things from the investigations were to be leaked to the press, it would be an outrage. In Romania, it's just normal. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.